And in here, I will explain about the 4 characters in chapter 3 of Mundai books. And the first character is Roman Jakobson, and the second is Nida, and the third is Newmark, and the last is Kohler. And the first is Roman Jakobson, The Nature of Linguistic Meaning and Equivalence. The theory of language put forward by this makes a distinction between the linguistic system and the speech of the particular individual. In theory, Jakobson distinguishes between spoken and written signal and the concept, which together create language sign. This sign allows us to understand that word means even though we have never seen or experienced the concept or thing in real life. Jakobson considers the problem of meanings between words in the different language. He points out that there is usually no sharing between code units. And according to this principle are the 2 ways of thinking. The first is linguistic universalism, which assumes there is a shared way of thinking and experiencing the world, and linguistic relativity or determinism, which claims that differences is in language from the different conceptualization of the word based on the vocabulary of a language simply reflecting what is needed for life daily. And Jakobson claims that interlanguage translation involves substituting message in one language, not for separated unit of the code, but for entire message in several languages so that the message are equivalent. In Jakobson discussion, the problem of meaning and the discussion focuses on the differences in the structure and terminology of language. The question of translability that becomes a degree and evaluation. For Jakobson, grammatical language is basically different in what they have to convey and not in that they can convey. And the second is Nida and Science of Translation, the influence of Chomsky. The structure is itself the subject to phonological and the morphemic rules, and the universal feature of human language. The basic units are the kernel sentence, which are simple declarative sentences that require the minimum of the transformation. According to Chomsky, its sateo will either belong to the kernel or will be delivered from a string sent through a sequence of one more transformation. And the kernel sentences are simple declarative septeno that consists of one verb without modifiers. The kernel sentence here transforms the structure of the language future into a simpler one. Science of translation considered important because Chomsky is very influential and very important. While it is true that the basic approach to translation is descriptive, it is based on the concept of language that goes beyond a narrow limits of the grammar, in other words, following Chomsky. We don't view language as a collection of sentences, but rather as the dynamic mechanism capable of producing infinite sequence and different expressions. And the third is Newmark, semantic and communicative translation. Newmark distinguishes between communicative and semantic translation in an attempt to bring together the two translation perspectives, focusing on ST and TT respectively. The communicative translation aims to achieve an effect on the TT receptor that is as close as possible to the effect achieved by the ST on the original receptor. And the semantic translation aims to reader to closely as possible the contextual meaning of the ST within the semantic and syntactic structure of the TL. And then semantic translation is therefore comparable to Nida's formal equivalence, while communicative translation is similar to Nida's functional or dynamic equivalence. However, Newmark rejects the idea of full equivalence effect as unobtainable where the context of ST and TT differs. Newmark gives literal translation priority in both communicative and semantic translation, only where semantic translation risks equivalent effect or leads to idiomatic structure, so communicative translation be applied. The last is Koller, equivalence relation. Koller examines the concept of equivalence more closely along with its linked term, correspondent. We can describe the two as correspondent and equivalence. Correspondent is within the field of contrastive linguistics, which compares two language systems and describes difference and similarities contrastively, or identificational of false friends, signal of lexical, morphological, and syntactic interference. And the equivalent item in specific ST or TT pairs and context. It's source parole. Koller points out that while knowledge of correspondences is indicative of competence in foreign language, its knowledge and ability in equivalent that are indicative of competence in translation. Types of equivalence relation is double linkage ST and communicative conditions of the receiver is denotative, connotative, text normative equivalence, and the formal equivalence and pragmatic equivalence. And the first is denotative equivalence is equivalence of the extra-linguistic content of a text. And the second is connotative equivalence is lexical choices near synonyms. And the third is normative equivalence. Text types with different kinds of text behaving in the different way. And the fourth is pragmatic equivalence, oriented toward the receiver of the text or message. And the last is formal equivalence, related to the form and aesthetic of the text, wordplays, and the individual stylistic feature of the ST. The equivalents are hierarchical, ordered according to needs of the communicative situation. So, the translator first tries the notative equivalent, and if this is inadequate, we'll need to seek equivalent at a higher level. And I think enough from my explanation. I'm more or less sorry whether it was intentional or unintentional in my conversation. I'm really very sorry. And the last I said, thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.